remembered that I don't care for public speaking. Good evening, friends and new friends. Thank you for letting me participate. In the context of these presentations that connect people to one another and to resources, I ask you to consider what is the role of art. For me, art, both making and viewing, is about sparking a conversation using a series of questions for myself and with the viewer. The work that you are seeing here began with an investigation into the devotional and socio-political application of the veil upon the female body. In my research, I discovered that I am most drawn to the effect of the veil as it simultaneously obfuscates and draws attention to a body's femaleness. So I asked, what would it look like if the female figure were absent, but her presence seemed tangible? I began to make compositions in which the silhouette of the female form is cut away from her given environment. I envision these works as anti-paintings, a space of alterity within the canon of painting. These works in these series are comprised of cut paper and paint, and some are made of oil paint that has been scraped away to create the form. This reductive method inverts traditional painting practice. The conceptual blank canvas of the figure's body is like a screen onto which we can project our desires. While these figures certainly do not emote the whole story of woman, they relate to a certain segment of Western visual culture to which we have been exposed to for centuries. The figures and poses are hijacked from art historical references and vintage and contemporary media and pinup imagery. These are some of the icons that inform the stories that we construct around gender repeatedly. I find it interesting to attempt at identifying old visual and cultural sources in current advertising. Media provides rich fodder to riff on. What began as an exploration into an unfamiliar cultural construction returned me to my own fluid notions of femaleness, feminism, and sexuality. I recall questioning as a child the difference between Ingres' hallowed reclining nude painting La Grande Odalisque and my uncle's velvet girly paintings in his French Quarter home. I also call upon the memory of seeing Liberace perform live when I was a punk rock teenager. It was an invigorating and confusing spectacle. Rhinestones, feathers, and Chopin, oh my, that provided a much-needed alternative to the alternative scene I thought I was already part of. I'm invested, it's okay to laugh. I know my jokes are bad. I'm invested in presenting a certain kind of theatrical gender play in these works. The silhouetted figures are placed into imagined settings, some recalling the original context and others purely fabricated, or a composite of other references to produce a new effect. I also riff on the old association of femininity with nature. The doubled images in my works are never true doppelgangers, but are more akin to inversions of one another. I am not interested in creating a bias that poses one as more real than the other, but I do wish to present them as simultaneous phantasms, as shifting constructions of an idea. But inversion is an interesting idea that provides alternate pathways, night for day, dominant, subordinate, dark, light. What if the transition between these binaries was more malleable? Or if the veil between the conscious and the unconscious were pierced? What would night vision during the day seem like, for example? And on the construct of time, the past is present in the imagery and conventions that we repeat. Fashion editorials recall Greek sculpture or pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood paintings. Gender narratives are replayed by different players, and we recognize those familiar gestures. I ask, how can we remix these ideas? I deconstruct elements that would suggest this theatrical kind of femaleness and presentation: stage curtains, ostrich feathers, and hair, wild hair. While again, this is not the full story of women, these elements have certain cultural associations. Hair as an opportunity conjures the most animal and the most primed. It is a powerful signifier of class, race, and gender. I arrived at these elements while drawing when I'm very tired or just waking. Something in my subconscious guides the gesture, and then I work from there. I sometimes seek out photo reference to help solidify an amorphous idea. This process permits me to work associatively. How is a rising moon like an odalisque? As stage curtains frame the body, are they also like elements of the body? What kind of visual information is necessary to produce a distinct atmosphere or character? What are the political possibilities here? I return to certain imagery again and again. I see the familiar in unlikely places. It is an uncanny and inexplicable effect that I wish to share with the viewer. I ask, where have I seen that before? Why does it impact me so? I make connections between appearance and ideas, raiding both the realm of my personal experience and a broader cultural image bank, searching for meaning as I put the ideas to flesh. I imagine my restricted choice of colors and the murky and graphic applications of paint as representing that space in the subconscious that is both ether and dinosaur tar simultaneously. I offer a dark theater in which imagination and desire can freely roam. By the way, the irony of presenting these ideas and artworks in a historic opera house, on stage, on a big screen, framed by curtains, is not lost by me. Curtains, stage, theater, showbiz. Not all questions are answered immediately. Many aren't answered. My questions have questions. In a very real way, art making is akin to research. One idea leads to the next as a lateral or direct route. I traverse a map that disregards the fastest route between points. Thank you.